Loyal supporters of the crippling local tourism industry throughout the pandemic, but will domestic travellers be left out in the cold this summer? The Federated Hospitality Association of South Africa is urging the hospitality sector to step up and give locals value for their money this festive season. For more on this, we're joined by Fedhasa's National Chair, Rosemary Anderson. Rosemary, thanks for joining us this morning. So many of us South Africans can't afford to travel abroad this year and are going domestic. Are there going to be any kind of gestures of perhaps kindness for locals, seeing that foreign visitors are slowly trickling in?
Oh, absolutely. If you just look out there, there are a tremendous number of specials. Not only are hotels giving good rates, but they're also offering extra things like meals on special prices and all the rest of it. So there's definitely lots on. And we are very grateful to our South African travellers who have really supported hospitality during this time. So we want to encourage our hospitality industry even more so to offer more specials than normal. International tourism hasn't resumed anything like what it needs to resume. So there are lots of offerings still out there. And I think in the future too, I think local tourism and hospitality will definitely be there for the South African public.
How are local businesses doing so far in terms of bookings for December? Are they doing fairly well?
It really depends where they are. You'll find outlying areas and smaller locations, they're actually doing very well. Some of your city areas, like Sandton, for example, they're still really struggling. You can get very, very good specials. Hotels that you would think you could never afford before, you can now afford. It's a great time to be traveling in South Africa. You know, traveling internationally is a little bit daunting at the moment with obviously the fourth wave out there in some of the countries overseas. So now is the time to actually embrace South Africa and see how wonderfully we do things here.
What kind of response have you had from your local institutions and local hotels and hospitality industries in terms of the domestic tourist?
Oh, very good response. And I think people are really enjoying having our South African tourists visiting them. It's very interesting, but this whole time of lockdown and COVID in general, a lot of hospitality businesses have looked at themselves with fresh eyes, and businesses, for example, which concentrated on business tourism and international tourism have now gone with specific packages to local tourism for leisure purposes. So there are a lot more opportunities than there used to be. There are quite a number of hotels which are still actually shut at the moment. So it's not exactly great for the hospitality industry. So we really do need support as much as possible.
I didn't think about hotels that hadn't reopened yet. Are they some of the big chains, or are they small hotels that are just struggling to retain staff?
No, it's your big group hotels. The small hotels, if they're really struggling, a lot of them sadly have actually closed down. But the big group hotels, a lot of them, in fact, some of them are even budgeting to be only open in 2023. The ones that actually depended heavily on business tourism and international tourism. And that's why we really need our Department of Tourism to actually step up and actually have a tremendous marketing campaign internationally to try to draw tourists back to South Africa, because unfortunately, our market, our local market is not big enough with regards to the number of people who've got sufficient disposable income to spend on hospitality and tourism in South Africa. That's why we depend so heavily on international tourism to service many of these hotels.
A lot of the big metros, especially Cape Town, I know, really depended on conference tourism to pump money into the local economy. When do you expect those kind of conferences to resume?
Well, I really think things have changed. Zoom and Teams meetings have really changed the way we do things. We really do hope that people see the benefit of having in-person meetings for specific reasons. But I think forever we're going to have a change in that regard. So I think hospitality and tourism is just going to have to totally relook at us. So we're going to have to try harder. And sometimes, you know, that expression, in times of difficulty lies opportunity. There's a digital nomad opportunity. What that is actually encouraging people who are able to work from anywhere in the world because they operate on their computers to actually move to South Africa and stay at hotels like on a long-term basis. South Africa, from a cost of living point of view and our beauty and our offerings, we're up there. We honestly are. So there are new opportunities which are arising, which we hope to capitalize on.
Very quickly, Rosemary, how do we find these deals that domestic hospitality institutions are offering?
Just go into any hotel that you wish to go onto their website and have a look at their specials. There's loads on.
All right, thanks so much. That's Fedhasa's National Chair, Rosemary Anderson. Well, if